Don't you want the story twice? Have no fear, the studio say remake.
Testing. Okay.
All right, I'm ready.
Okay. I always forget what our fucking opening is.
Our
Hold
opening?
on.
Oh,
Yeah.
you mean the routine you go through?
Yeah.
Do you think I can get through the opening this time without crumbling into existential doubt and despair?
When you have to call yourself a critic?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's tough. Let's see if you can do it.
Are you recording?
I am recording.
Okay, good. Great.
Oh, you want me to go? I thought you were going to do it. I thought you were teeing yourself
Hey,
up.
welcome to Once More with Feeling. It's a podcast about really great movies and there's sometimes not so great remakes. It's me. I'm Mariana Colleen. I run The Morbid Zoo on YouTube. It's a YouTube channel about horrors, both real and imagined. And I am joined here by my good friend Gus Schiff.
Hi.
Screenwriter.
And comedian. Sort of.
Now he's crippled by self-doubt.
Me, I have imposter syndrome. I'm not gonna lie. Welcome to episode 5. Oh my God, Alice in Wonderland.
5.
Yeah, we've done this 5
That's
times.
crazy.
It's so crazy. We have spent too much money on this idea.
I disagree. I think we've spent exactly enough. It's well under $500.
Yeah.
What we've spent for this podcast so far.
Yeah.
So.
But we're
I think
excited to
that's
spend
perfectly
more.
Acceptable. No.
When we can. Listen, I've told you my ultimate goal.
No, people pay us.
I've told you my ultimate goal for this is if this goes, if we get crazy big, I'm buying a movie theater.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that idea.
That would,
Right after you buy a dog.
Yeah, it goes dog, engagement ring, movie theater.
Aw.
I know. She's wonderful.
Sign up for Patreon. Let's get a ring on Gus's finger. Let's make it happen.
Okay. What are we doing today? Oh, Alice in Wonderland. Alice in Wonderland, 1951, and Alice in Wonderland, 2010.
And 2016. We're doing both of them.
Well, we're doing 2016 for Patreon subscribers.
For Patreon.
So
I mean,
if
we're doing 2016 either way. You will only be able to listen to it if you sign up for Patreon.
Yeah, so sign up for Patreon.
Support Gus's relationship.
Yeah, let me buy an engagement ring. Cool. So let's talk about the movie, Alice in Wonderland. Oh no, that's not what I normally do. Normally I talk about general history in 1950. So it's not that different. 1951, when Alice in Wonderland came out, is not that different from 1950, which we covered in the last episode in Cinderella. We are
Did this come out the year after Cinderella?
It came out 1.5 years after Cinderella. So we'll get into this a little bit later, but this movie, Cinderella and Peter Pan, were all kind of being made at the same time, in the late 40s. And basically in 48 or 49, Disney looked at the three of them and was like, Cinderella's the furthest along. So let's focus our effort on that one and get that out. And then Alice in Wonderland was next, and then Peter Pan was next. So 1951, we're pretty firmly in the Korean War at this point, I think. Let me double check that.
It's just one war after another.
Yeah,
up until this very day.
Yeah, we're pretty firmly in the Korean War at this point. Started June 25th, 1950. The Korean War, obviously, a lot of people died. Pretty horrible. A lot of civilian deaths. Not really a huge part of American history. It's called the Forgotten War for a reason. Not that that's good. Not that I support that. But, right now we're focusing on American history. So, yeah, this was kind of the first armed battle against communism. The first kind of hot war against communism since the Cold War started in 19...
proxy
47?
wars like popping up all over the place. It's a Cold War between the Soviet Union and the US, but the Soviet Union is sponsoring all these revolutions in other places in the world, and the US is constantly trying to like play whack-a-mole with those places.
Yeah. And this is like, there were not a lot of Soviets in Korea. There were like less than 100,000 in total. But it was the first instance of the U.S. like fighting a war, literally against communism, that you would see again in Vietnam, a couple decades later. It kind of sucked as a war. It wasn't really like, by the end of World War II, which had only ended 6 years before this. By the end of World War II, you got to remember it's kind of like nonstop Allied victories. In the Pacific, like since the Battle of Midway, like their casualties were high and the fighting conditions were horrible, but like the U.S. was pretty regularly winning these battles. And in Europe after D-Day, the Allies were pushing in and they were going up Italy and they had kicked the Germans out of North Africa. And so, like, except for the Battle of the Bulge, which was, like, only, like, a week, basically, like, nonstop winning for the good guys. The Korean War, like, pretty quickly became a stalemate. There was a lot of, like, dying over not a lot of land.
It's the beginning of the proud American tradition of fighting unwinnable wars. Just like
quagmires and
suddenly we learned that there is
villages.
It really is impossible to win any kind of asymmetrical, warfare.
This one wasn't asymmetrical. They were both standing armies. This wasn't a guerrilla situation. It was the U.S. and South Korea basically versus North Korea and China.
That's true. You're so right about that.
Yeah.
I must be. I'm thinking about the sort of. This is also around the time we start our conflicts in Laos and the rest of that kind of.
That's true.
South Pacific type area, which is very much asymmetrical warfare and very much precedes the Vietnam War and how that went.
Yeah. So which is all to say, like, not a super popular war, Also, I think probably, as it often does in U.S. history, there was some racism baked into that. Who gives a should I say that? No. The people at the time, the internment ended in 1946. They had just interned like over 100,000 Japanese immigrants and Japanese Americans for simply like being Japanese. The Western U.S. has a history of anti-Chinese stuff. And listen, like, when you're racist, you're not going to differentiate between all these groups.
No, we were just like, hot off the heels of demonizing Japanese people as a matter of course.
Yeah. Which is all to say, like, this war was very much like a government fight, right? It was there to contain... It was a containment fight against North Korean communism. They wanted a sort of like, honestly, kind of like Israel today. They wanted like an allied group on the continent, that they could have there. That's really all there is to talk about the Korean War.
Hey, Gus.
Yeah.
What's the Korean War have to do with Alice in Wonderland?
Well, basically the Korean War was going on as Alice in Wonderland came out. That's it. So and then in 1951, all you really got to know about Disney is like they were still riding high off the success of Cinderella. If you remember last time, Cinderella, one of the best selling movies ever. It let Disney make, do a bunch of stuff. It built Disneyland, basically. So Disney was doing super, super well. They just had their first live action movie come out called Treasure Island, which I have not seen because I don't want to, because it's not in the scope of this podcast. And now
I haven't seen it either.
Yeah.
Do you think that is Treasure Planet a remake of Treasure Island?
Treasure Planet is a retelling. I don't think it counts because it's not. I don't think it's a remake. Number one, is that a Disney movie?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Unless it's DreamWorks and I'm insane. I don't think I am, though.
Is it a Disney movie? I love Treasure Planet, but I don't think it's a remake because it's just the same. It is a Disney movie. Wow. It's just the same. It's the same story, but it's not like, it doesn't remake the thing.
I guess. I mean, isn't that kind of the case for today's podcast?
Well,
I have a whole justification
about
about why this should be included in this podcast of ours.
Yeah.
But like, the new Alice in Wonderland is certainly not a direct remake of,
Absolutely. So let me talk a little bit about the original Alice in Wonderland. I read it in college because I was like, I've never read this book, and I've played the levels so much in Kingdom Hearts.
Oh, yeah, it's the first level. So it's like, if you encounter any part of Kingdom Hearts, it's probably going to be the Alice in Wonderland level.
I remember liking them a lot. I remember it's kind of like an older school Phantom Tollbooth vibe. It's very much my style of literature, like super humanist, very fun, very silly. People adored this book when it came out, like all the way, including Queen Victoria. It's literally never gone out of print and had been, as of the movie's release in 1951, translated into at least German, French, Swedish, Italian, Finnish, and Esperanto. Fun fact. And then, and a lot of people see this book as a precursor to some of my favorite authors, like Douglas Adams, Dr. Seuss, Roald Dahl, Terry Pratchett, all those kind of like silly, human-focused, emotion-focused people. The original book came out in 1865, and the sequel in 1871, Through the Looking Glass and What Alice Found There, which actually has a plot, surprisingly, is an even bigger hit than the original book. So it's similar, like it's a similar thing to a lot of the stories that Disney adapted, which is very popular and not that much money because it was in public domain.
And Disney loved these books himself also.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. In an interview or talking to the American Weekly in 1946, so 5 years before the movie came out, Walt said that no story in English literature has intrigued me more than Lewis Carroll's Alice in Wonderland. It fascinated me the first time I read it as a schoolboy. Also, like Cinderella, he did a silent Alice in Wonderland movie in 1923 back in Kansas City called Alice's Wonderland. It's a live-action animation hybrid. It's very cute. Disney cast himself in it as an animator. Doesn't tell the story at all. It's really just named. It's about a little girl who loves cartoons, goes to sleep, dreams of a cartoon world, and then wakes up at the end.
I didn't know that existed.
Yeah, I watched it.
I gotta go look it up after this. I did end up going back and watching the silent Cinderella
one.
It's pretty cute.
Yeah, I like that they're all in jazz outfits.
Yeah, I know.
So Walt has been wanting to do a feature-length Alice in Wonderland basically his whole career. There was hints of one in development right after Snow White. Actually, not even hints. It started development right after Snow White. It was a huge success, but was delayed indefinitely, in part because Walt didn't really love the direction, and also World War II happened, and there was no market. I just noted this because it's crazy. In 1946, 45, Walt Disney commissioned Aldous Huxley, who wrote Brave New World, to write a version of Alice in Wonderland, which Aldous imagined as an animation live-action hybrid. That ended up getting scrapped. I think that happened in 1945. And then in 1946, that's when work began on the version of Alice in Wonderland that ended up coming out. It was, as I said earlier, developed simultaneously alongside Cinderella and Peter Pan. And Alice, when Walt was like, we have to pick which one we're focusing on, Alice came in second. It was released on July 28th, 1951, about a year and a half after Cinderella. It cost $3 million to make, and it kind of bombed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder about that Aldous Huxley version. I wonder if that script is still around. Because it's like, if anybody's going to write this sort of like darkness inherent in that story, I think, that sort of Victorian way of like putting a child in a really perilous situation and and just like kind of fucking with them for for a decent runtime. It's going to be Aldous Huxley, I feel.
Yeah.
But I mean, anyway.
Yeah. I found sources that said that critics didn't like the movie, especially British critics fucking despised it. I did not find the critics themselves and what they said about it, which makes me very sad. But I did find a review from New York Times critic Bosley Crowther, who mostly liked the movie, complained a bit about its deviations from the source material. And then Variety, they don't like credit their reviewers, or they didn't at the time. They wrote that, quote, youngsters of all ages will welcome the movie, but adult reception will be divided. So pretty like, even the positive reviews, those were both positive, like are pretty lukewarm. And then like Disney himself did not like the movie. There's a New York Times article from 1947 that said that Disney thought the movie was, quote, filled with weird characters, end quote, and that it, quote, had an appeal to the intellect without anything to appeal to the emotions.
This is super interesting to me because like the life that this version of Alice in Wonderland has in American culture in the decades following this, like it almost feels like just another example of fate stepping in and like blessing Walt Disney with eternal relevance in American culture. Because it's like I don't think obviously the sort of Disney repertoire would not be the same without this movie, but like that aspect of having an appeal to the intellect or whatever. I mean, that's why we have Scene Kids, like that's why it's like
what is Scene Kids?
Oh, come on. Like kids who shopped at Hot Topic in 2010.
Oh, that kind of okay. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, it's the same. It's sort of in the same kind of realm of I don't know, adolescent pop culture as Nightmare Before Christmas. Where it's a little darker, it's a little more mature or whatever. And it's but it's like. And so, I think it does kind of deviate a little bit from the brand that Disney has been building up until that point. Yeah. But that's a deviation that only helps to serve the company down the road, because it's like you have this other sort of completely new market of people who are interested in this kind of thing that is still Disney.
Yeah. I mean, I think there is like a darkness in Pinocchio and in
and Dumbo for sure,
Bambi, which we're not covering. Even Snow White has like that kind of thing. But I see what you're saying about like in those movies, it is kind of like moments of darkness. And in this
and it's
one,
also
in this one, there's not really like, I don't really remember like a moment of darkness as much as just like a general undercurrent of like, okay.
It's just the overall vibes are kind of like, I don't know, vaguely edgy and vaguely threatening and weird. And also it's I won't call this movie like feminist because I don't think it necessarily is, but it has aesthetics that end up kind of lending themselves well to a certain kind of second wave, early third wave feminism in the late 20th century, early 21st, which I think is like certainly,
what kind
taken advantage of in the
what kind of aesthetics?
Like a girl who's, I don't know, how old is Alice? 12-ish?
Yeah,
something?
I think so.
Yeah. A girl who doesn't fit in, doesn't want to be whatever, doesn't want to meet the expectations that are set up for her, has this like huge inner life and just enormous imagination, and wants to like follow that and see where that takes her. Yeah. And it's and there is no prince, because she's not a princess.
Right.
There's no love interest at all.
So actually, that's one of the things that I read. I don't remember which review it was, but it was like one of the complaints about the changes is that like Alice in Lewis Carroll's books. So one of the things to remember, one of the reasons that people like specifically pointed out all these differences is that Alice in Wonderland and all of its publishings were published with like the same illustrations. Mm-hmm. And so these illustrations were like as they just went with the book. Mm-hmm. And Disney did not use that art.
Right.
On purpose.
Yeah, it's Disney-fied.
People were upset. And so one of the complaints was that like they made Alice with her like red lips and her hair like look and like her rosy cheeks. She looked too princessy. And the real Alice is a pallid English girl who doesn't go outside enough. Yeah. Which I thought was really interesting.
That is interesting.
What did you think about the movie?
It's all right.
I didn't like it either. I gotta be honest with you. It was pretty weird.
It's real weird.
Yeah.
And like you know what? And I'll bring this back later because this is a review of the new one, but Roger Ebert in his review of the 2010 version said, and I completely agree, as a young reader, I found Alice in Wonderland creepy and rather distasteful. Alice's adventures played like a series of encounters with characters whose purpose was to tease, puzzle, and torment her. Few children would want to go to Wonderland and none would want to stay. Watching the 1951 Disney film, I feared the Cheshire Cat was about to tell me something I didn't want to know. And I think that's a really good description of what's going on in this movie. It's pretty freaky.
Yeah.
Like, and like, especially, and I mean, it's interesting to, again, like look at this movie in terms of the culture that was emerging in this time period, that like in the 1950s, and this isn't a matter of conspiracy, like the American government and the CIA is starting to do all this like freaky experiments with like trying to do drugs, like trying to apply drugs to mind control, the MK Ultra program type stuff, like the introduction of psychedelics into society as a whole, this like growing counterculture to that, like it started instantly with the kind of culture of conformity that we talked about last time with Cinderella. Right. It's very much a representation of that. But there's like this sort of simmering darkness in American culture that goes like straight up through the 70s.
Yeah. Well, that's something that I'm really interested about, and I'll talk about this a little later, once we're past our kind of personal reactions to it. But I'm wondering because obviously 1951, right? Soviet stuff happening. There's a part of this movie that is like so, to me, so propaganda-y.
Oh, interesting.
It's the walrus and the carpenter part.
Freaky segment on its own.
It's super weird, but it's like it reads so much as like an allegory. But I was confused because to me, like, so in this segment, if you haven't seen the movie, which you should, basically, there's a big fat walrus with a monocle and a top hat. And he convinces the carpenter, who's like a short, low guy, to trick all these oysters into coming with them. And then he doesn't trick the carpenter. The carpenter sees the oysters and is like, wouldn't it be great if we ate them all? Right. He gets the carpenter to help him trick all the oysters to come with them for dinner. And then they're about to like chow down on the oysters, and the carpenter's like, I have to go do this thing. And he leaves, and then when he comes back, the walrus has eaten all the oysters, and then the carpenter chases him out. And that reads to me so much like pro-communism, which was super confusing to me. Like the walrus reads very easily as like the dirty capitalist, and the carpenter reads super easily as like, I might be getting these terms wrong. I'm sorry. I haven't read Das Kapital in a long time. The carpenter, I think, reads as like the bourgeois, who's like, I am a rich person too. I am a capitalist, and then gets taken
bourgeois.
Gets taken just as much advantage of.
It's like, you are doing labor. You are a laborer. You're a carpenter, and then but all your
the oysters, the naive oysters, are like the working class who get preyed upon by the dirty capitalist. Over the complaints of their protector, the old oyster lady.
Maybe I'll push back on that just a little bit, because is. I mean, the story is pretty much the same in the book. No, I haven't read the book, so I don't know.
I don't remember.
The walrus and the carpenter.
I'm sure it is, but it's like, but that's the thing about retelling stories, is like the time that it's told matters as much as the story is. That's kind of the point of this whole podcast.
That's true. No, it's true. And we very much talked about that with Dumbo, where it's like, you can have all these like really subversive, weird messaging that doesn't at all match the kind of sensibilities that existed in the day, or was even necessarily conscious among the people making the thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I do think that it's like the characterization of the walrus is certainly like, he's certainly like a sort of posh, or at least, aspiring to a kind of posh British aesthetic.
But bad at it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or very good at it.
Yeah.
Who knows?
But I think that, there's something there. I was watching this with my wonderful girlfriend, who could not get, like, she was convinced there was some sort of anti-Soviet message in this movie. And so anytime, like, there's a moment where, like, the R on the calendar of March, like, flashes red a couple times. And she was like, did you see that? Did you see that? Anti-Soviet propaganda. And I was like, how? What? Why?
I think part of this movie, and like this is part of why I think it appeals to, in the later 20th century, that kind of like emo scene kid, lolly fashion style of adolescence, is that it doesn't make any sense. And that I think is like, that's always going to be the charm of Alice in Wonderland, and why it, the book and every adaptation just continues to like charm everybody, because I think it's a mistake to try and read into this story too much. I don't think that there's a whole lot of direct symbolism happening. It's absurdist.
I think you're right. I think, one of the big things that about the original book is like, it came out of like a conversation with a like 6-year-old.
Right.
Or a child, and it does a really good job of like bringing the sort of nonsensical ADHD imagination land.
It's playing.
A new kid into the world. That doesn't mean it's good, though. My wonderful girlfriend, one of my favorite quotes from her watching this, she said, watching this movie is like writing It's a Small World over and over and over and over and over and over and over, except It's a Small World actually has a message.
I think this has a message. It's just like, I think the message is... the message is, hey, you think that you'd want to live in a world of your own devising, but if you actually go to that world, you will find it completely incomprehensible, and everybody's going to like be super mean to you.
I guess so.
And you're not going to find your place in the world, so you should just be pleased with what you have.
I did say, does it, as though I didn't write down like a note that says message and then the message I thought the movie had. I kind of thought it was like, don't go on adventures. Like the girl version of Pinocchio, but less,
a little bit
less moralistic and less annoying.
I will say, it doesn't. I don't get the feeling at the end of the movie like Alice necessarily regrets any of this. Like she kind of wakes up and she's like, "Woo! Oh, whoa, okay."
Isn't she like sobbing at the end of the movie?
No, she sobs in the middle of the forest for sure. But it ends with this whole like, I don't know, phantasmagorical, chase.
She gets chased by everybody.
Yeah, and they're gonna cut her head off, I guess. And then she wakes up and she's like, well, now I know better or something. Like, it doesn't seem like I don't think she's dissatisfied with her adventure. And that's something that I actually really like about Alice as a character, that she is just kind of like up for whatever, you know?
Yeah.
And it's only when things start getting just like, you know, frustrating, and nobody will give her directions and nobody will help her and nobody will, you know, like she's just kind of alone in this world. She's no longer the odd person out. Now she's the only normal one, and everybody else is really fucking weird and frustrating and incomprehensible. But I don't think that is a poor reflection on Alice, and I don't think it's necessarily meant to be, you know? Like she seems like a good hang.
This 12-year-old?
Yeah.
Yeah. Want to smoke down with her. I one of the things for me is, you know, I think we've both seen all of the movies that we're watching this season already.
I think so.
I did not have positive memories of Alice in Wonderland from watching it as a kid. I remember like the Cheshire Cat freaked me the fuck out. I was terrified by that smile. I was like, that's not how footsteps work. You can't walk around someone on both sides. The Red Queen scared me a lot. And then like what's interesting is like, to me, is that like certain parts of this movie like really stick in your mind, like the tea party, the whole thing with the Queen of Hearts, the Cheshire Cat, or at least parts of the Cheshire Cat, and then other parts I don't remember at all. Like I did not like when she cried and then got swept away on her own tears into like an ocean with all these birds.
Remember that?
I didn't remember that at all. I didn't remember any of the walrus and the oyster. No, the walrus and the carpenter. I didn't remember when she got big in the house. Like,
that's super interesting. Because like I remembered all of it. Yeah. I loved this movie when I was a kid. Watched it all the time. And I think this speaks to a fundamental difference in sensibilities between you and I.
Yeah.
But I don't remember as a kid being like freaked out by any of it at all.
Yeah.
I don't remember as a kid being freaked out by very much ever.
Oh,
and I think
there's a reason I don't watch a lot of horror movies still.
But I think that's kind of interesting and makes me think differently about young me, baby me, like fucking 4-year-old me or whatever. Because like watching this movie now, I was like kind of disconcerted for most of it. Tweedledee and Tweedledum freaked me out.
Oh my god,
really didn't like them. Really didn't like them at all.
Tweedledee, the Tweedles, Dum and Dee, a noted area of complaint from a lot of critics because Tweedles, Dum and Dee, they are from the second book. And this book, everyone was expecting an adaptation of the first book. And I just thought that was interesting. It's like all 4 reviews that I did actually find, they all mentioned that like, well, the Tweedles are from the wrong book, but it's okay because like, and they're not really what they look like. Disney does his thing. It's fine, I guess. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, movie did pretty bad. Cost $3 million to make. Only took back around $2.4 million, which resulted in a loss for Disney of about $1 million. And if you remember from our previous episodes, something that Disney did, and most, I think, distributors and studios did this too, is they'd re-release their movies every like 6 or 7 years for another run in the theater. They did not release Alice in Wonderland again as long as Disney was alive. So most movies, Pinocchio, for example, it was released in 1940, re-released in 1945. That's only 5 years, right? Most movies re-released, spending way too much time saying that. Alice in Wonderland, its first re-release was in 1974. That's 23 years later.
Yeah, that's wild.
And I want to talk about...
Why did it come out in 1974?
Well, I'm so glad that you asked, because... And it's something that you mentioned about, like, that dark undercurrent of American society, that sort of initial starting pushback against the big... the 50s were a time of great conformity. It was like the great suburbification of the United States.
Social engineering,
right? Redlining all these cities very intentionally to keep neighborhoods apart. Basically, the idea that you can build a great society top down, which I'm pretty sure we both very strongly disagree with. But that was huge in the 50s and in the 40s, right? Right. Oh, what's happening? What am I talking about? My brain just fell apart.
You were talking about...
Yeah. Top down. So there was a very natural pushback against this, especially once the absolute quagmire of Vietnam started. And the militaries were, they kept getting into these government wars. They kept drafting young men, and they pushed a lot of youth culture pretty far the other direction, pretty far into like the individual freedom, the kind of psychedelic element of the hippie movement. And that was very, very, very strong in the 70s, and especially in 1974. So this New York Times article called Alice Returns, Curiouser and Curiouser from 1974. It's the same article that I mentioned earlier with Walt Disney and that he didn't like this movie. And in this article, they point out that Disney releases, they re-release Alice across the country, but they run two completely different ads for this movie. There's one ad in rural places, which is just like one of the songs. It's the flower song that Alice sings. And like, go see the movie. And then there's an ad for urban and college spots, which said, down the rabbit hole and through the talking door lies a world where vibrant colors merge into shapes of fantasy and music radiates from flowers. 9 out of 10 leading dormice recommend Walt Disney's Alice in Wonderland. For visual euphoria and good, clean nonsense. Should you see it? Go ask Alice. And that last line is, as the article notes, a very overt reference to the song White Rabbit by noted psychedelic rock band Jefferson Airplane. It's a great song. I listened to it last night. So why did they bring it back in 1974? And why did it absolutely sell out, especially in college towns? LSD.
Yeah.
It's because everybody was high.
Yeah.
It's because this is the Pink Floyd of movies. So that's really fascinating to me. And I think like the 70s culturally were very sort of hippy dippy. The 70s politically were absolutely not. Right? This was like Nixon times, I think. So like I don't want listeners to think like you could just advertise like, hey, this movie's a great place to do drugs to. But it's what's really fascinating is like, because this was a 2-decade-old movie, I think you can get away with that and be like, well, we didn't make it for the hippies. We didn't make it for people to like get high to and watch. We made it.
It just happens to be good for them.
It's just like, people are recontextualizing it now, 20-something years later. And
it's just an interesting sort of efflorescence of what,
I have to look that word up.
We'll break it down, Gus. What does it sound like?
Sense. I know how to spell it. Is the migration of a salt to the surface of a porous material where it forms a coating. The essential efflorescence definition. Rapid growth or development.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. When a flower blooms and it's like, oh shit, that's what all this is about.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
When Disney animation began, as we discussed with Snow White, it was not clear what animation was going to be or what it was for. And Alice in Wonderland, to me, and like it's its behavior 50 years later here in 1974.
23 years later.
What?
23 years.
50 years after Disney started making feature length.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I have 40, I guess.
40 years.
Yeah. More like 40.
Yeah. 37 years.
Like, now we know what animation is for and what it's doing. It now has a solid, understandable place in American culture.
Drugs.
And I think, kind of, yeah. Like, I think it's interesting that drugs are genuinely kind of a big part of of what animation kind of like means.
I mean, I wonder
to
if
American
that,
animation.
I wonder if that's consistent, because obviously you have like a plethora of not currently airing but recent ostensibly children's animation shows that are very obviously designed for like stoners. Adventure Time, Gravity Falls, the regular show.
I don't know about
Gravity Falls is great. I mean, maybe not Gravity Falls, because I don't like do drugs because they make me really sad the next day. But like, I really
Gravity Falls is a great show. I'm not saying I will buy that out for something like Adventure Time for sure.
Regular show. All that kind of. I mean, I guess Cartoon Network shows I can stick with those specifically. Yeah.
Cartoon Network kind of built a brand off the kind of attitude that I think was established by Alice in Wonderland. You know,
that cartoons
sort of
are
like,
for druggies.
A little bit, yeah. Or that cartoons can at least, you know, or at least good with drugs.
It's a nice pairing.
Yeah, exactly. It's a nice pairing. Yeah, a good steak and a Cabernet.
Oh my god.
A joint and Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Yeah. Anything else?
We need to do favorite part and favorite song.
We do need to do favorite part and favorite song. What was your favorite part?
My favorite part is when Alice is lost in the forest and she sees all the woodland creatures and they're all like weird machines.
Yeah, like the accordion owl.
Yeah,
the owl accordion.
Yeah, and the dog with a broom for a face that just like sweeps away the path.
Yeah.
I remember that being my favorite part when I was a kid, and it remains my favorite part today. I think it's super fun.
That freaked me out a little bit.
It's freaky. Yeah.
I didn't like it. I like my dogs to have dog faces. Like I could only, speaking of cartoons that are good for stoners, I couldn't really ever get into Cat Dog. Yeah. Because it scared, like I was so afraid of that creature. And
I was never insane about Cat Dog.
I didn't like it.
Courage the Cowardly Dog I loved.
No.
I assume you didn't.
I did not.
But I also, in that scene, I also like, if I'm remembering correctly, it's kind of the only part in the entire movie where Alice gets any kind of sympathy from the denizens of Wonderland, you know, that like she's like, fuck, I'm lost, I'm scared, and this sucks, I want to go home, and all the birds and little creatures are like, aw, that sucks, you're sad and scared and lost, and you want to go home.
Yeah, there is something to like the younger and more diminutive and more innocent creatures being more sympathetic to Alice. Like, my favorite part was when the flowers were all bullying her. And then, like, the little baby flower is like, I think she's pretty. And the mom goes, quiet, bud. It's just really, I didn't do it very well, but it's really funny in the movie. And I think that's cute. Something, that's a metaphor, probably.
Yeah.
I'm really bad at metaphors. I don't know if I've mentioned.
What was your favorite song?
My favorite song was the Walrus and the Oyster song, because it's a cry to dismantle the capitalist system. That's a joke. I don't know. It's just like the jauntiest. I really like their voices. I don't think either of them were Mel Blanc, but they sounded like Mel Blanc. And
the voice acting in this one is on point.
It's fantastic.
It's all super good.
I don't think he stunt casted this.
No, I don't think so.
The way that he did with other ones, and it fucking shows. I also do want to point out that like it's a very, very pretty movie.
It's gorgeous.
It looks great. It's just a little strange. There was like a very strong like impressionist influence I found in the opening bits, like the background there. I just wanted to point that out. I'm smart.
Well, I wonder, like this is a super expensive movie, but it seems like it's a little barer bones than than even like Cinderella. It's like Cinderella seems to have a little bit more of a unified aesthetic where it's like every part of the frame is at least thought about, if not completely detailed, you know. It's like a lot of Wonderland is sort of just foreground, and not a whole lot of background, which I think is interesting. It seems like
you know, we don't know how these budgets are created, right? And Hollywood accounting has existed forever. So it's like Disney had a version of Alice in Wonderland in development since like 1938. It's possible like he assigned some of the money spent as far back as that, like to the budget of this movie.
Right. So maybe he just wasted a lot.
I mean, he paid the very expensive and very well-known Aldous Huxley for a draft of the movie. Like that's not an insignificant amount of money.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. Yeah. So maybe this movie really is more like a Dumbo budget being applied to a more kind of Dumbo scale movie with just a bunch
I think it was higher than Dumbo. Like it wasn't, I think.
Sure. Yeah. No, and I think the animation and the quality is better than Dumbo, but it's not that much better. Like
that's true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, I do know what you mean. It's not like Cinderella is like a more detailed movie.
Beautiful movie. Yeah.
And this one's like very pretty, but not.
Yeah. Not in the same way.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. My favorite song was, I think it's called A World of My Own. The first song she sings.
Out in the English countryside.
Yeah, in the field. Yeah. First of all, I don't understand why Dinah is not a more popular Disney cat. She's so cute. What a cute little kitty.
Because she's only in like the beginning.
I guess. But I just think she's really adorable. I don't know. Very, very Figaro. Yeah. That kitty. And like at that point, I was like, let's go. I'm going to love this movie. This is great. This is such good vibes, you know? And then it's all kind of all downhill from there. Yeah. So that's my favorite.
One thing that I noticed about the beginning, and I can only say this as far as the movies that we've watched for this, but every other animated movie that we've seen opens on a book, I think, except maybe Dumbo, but I think even Dumbo opens on a book.
I don't know. No, I don't think it does.
No, okay. It does not.
It opens on a rainstorm, which is
right.
Inauspicious.
Right. But Snow White opens on a book. Pinocchio opens on a book. Cinderella opens on a book. And then Alice in Wonderland, which is very famously...
Which is a book.
Like, and not just a book. It's kind of even 100 years after it came out, or I guess 80 years after it came out. It's still kind of like the children's book. No book.
Yeah, that's interesting. Huh.
I wonder if that was kind of Disney putting their stamp on it.
Maybe.
You know, in a way. Let's talk about the sequel.
Okay. It was directed by Tim Burton, of course, as we all know. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was.
It was written by Linda Wolverton, who is a mainstay Disney screenwriter. She worked on a bunch of Disney Renaissance movies.
She worked on some of my favorite movies.
She wrote Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah. And she provided a lot of additional story work on all of the other ones. Yes,
Aladdin. So this movie isn't really a remake. It's not a sequel. It's not really referring to the Disney version very much at all, either aesthetically or narratively. The reason we're including it on this podcast is because we think, at least I think, I didn't consult you. I'm speaking for you without your input.
Please.
We think this one counts and is a movie we have to cover because it is directly responsible for the Disney remake trend.
Yeah. And that's definitely something that we thought of the whole time and are not just justifying now, having watched both movies and not wanting to waste a record session.
No, we're professionals. We knew this. Had you seen this before?
I had seen this.
I had too.
I saw this in theaters, and I did not remember it.
Yeah.
At all.
Well, I mean, you saw it in theaters. I saw it in theaters. Fucking everybody saw this movie in theaters. If like this movie was unbelievably successful.
Yeah, it's one of the most highest grossing movies of all time.
Yeah. On a 200 million some odd budget, this movie made $1 billion.
In
$1 billion.
Theaters. Just in theaters.
Yeah.
And this is before streaming, so it even made money after.
Crazy. Yeah. Like, if this movie came out today, there is no question it would not do those kind of numbers.
Not even close.
You know, this movie like squeaked in right before streaming started to be the go-to distribution method. And like it's interesting to look back on now because it benefited a lot, I think, from a theater culture that existed then and doesn't really exist now. Mm-hmm. To me, skipping. I skipped ahead in my notes and heading back.
It's for context, it's the 55th highest grossing movie of all time.
That's insane. Yeah. Like that doesn't sound crazy, but there are so many movies, you know?
Let me tell you the 100th highest grossing movie of all time, Inception.
Jesus. Yeah. This movie to me is kind of the apotheosis of what I've started calling the second golden age of Hollywood. In my opinion, that starts with Lord of the Rings in 2001.
Yeah.
The US was already on top of the film industry before that, obviously, but those movies really solidified that influence. And you might say, Mariana.
Yeah, wait, let me say it. But Mariana, Lord of the Rings is from New Zealand.
You're so right, Gus. It is from New Zealand. That's where it was filmed, but it was made with American money and by American studios. Like, this is the theater culture and producing style that followed those movies was so dominated by Los Angeles film producing culture specifically. So like for the decade following Lord of the Rings, blockbusters are absolutely bloated in both runtime and effects. They always hew to this really precise hero's journey formula. They usually include some kind of giant battle. They have these massive, just enormous ensemble casts. Like all of this is all Lord of the Rings shit.
What I'm hearing is that Lord of the Rings is the reason movies are bad now.
Ruined Hollywood, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
they flew too close to the sun.
For real, for the next 10 years, like think of pretty much every 10 blockbuster.
Years. I just watched fucking Captain America: Brave New World this year.
So for the next 10 years, this is the case until streaming is introduced, and then it's like time stops cold, and all we can do is like retreads of this same trend, but it doesn't work the same because we don't have theater culture anymore. So like in the 10 years that follow, like. What are some of the other blockbusters that come out during that time? Like
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Pirates of the Caribbean does this precisely.
Love that movie.
The Harry Potter does this precisely. Fucking Twilight does this. You know,
they do have that one battle in that one movie.
Yeah, for what? You know, it's absurd. So, yeah, I think it's the case that, like, Lord of the Rings kind of unlocked a level of visual ambition that Hollywood didn't really have a whole lot of faith in before 2001. Like, Hollywood was really, really concerned with giving too much money to a movie before Lord of the Rings. And once Lord of the Rings proved that, that you can make your money back.
Yeah.
It was no longer a concern.
You know what's interesting is it's kind of, in a way, like the modern version of the historical epic.
Yeah.
Right? Because
it very much is.
That kind of movie was gigantic.
Cleopatra, yeah.
But even into like Lawrence of Arabia, Ben-Hur, Spartacus, well into the 50s and 60s.
Yeah, and a lot... Sorry, go on.
Yeah, well, I was just going to say, and maybe this is outside of what you were talking about, but it's a really interesting comparison to make because just like the epics, like people kept making epics even when audiences were like, no.
Yes.
And even when it was like, this is literally financially untenable.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then no surprise, in the 60s, we get some of the best movies ever made.
Right.
So fucking look out in 4 years.
Well, and now it's like, so this trend sort of ended with the rise of streaming. That started about 10 years ago. Now we're just continuing to do that. We don't give a fuck whether audiences want to see it or whether they're going to give their money to it. doesn't matter.
Right.
We will still spend $300 million making a movie and declare it a success, even when it just is so obviously ass, you know? I think that's very interesting. This movie was a 3D venture.
I remember I was watching the movie and it was like, I hope I wrote it down, but I don't think I did. Oh, it was when she was falling down the rabbit hole. And I was like, wait a second. This came out right in the middle of my least favorite movie making trend of all time.
Yeah. Avatar had just come out. It was really successful. And this is sort of a historically interesting too, I think, because now mostly 3D is just sort of passively considered this like bullshit rinky-dink gimmick.
As it was before. It's so
before.
fun.
Exactly. These cycles that we go through.
It was like a 6-year period where all of entertainment was like, everyone's going to want 3D.
Oh.
We're going to sell 3D televisions and every movie's 3D.
Exactly.
And
and I, like that's so fascinating to me, just as a you know, like as a person who sort of studies the kind of excuse me, I'm getting over a throat thing. As a person who studies the kind of like metaphysical assumptions like baked into things like film technology and like what we think film technology is doing, what it should be doing, what kind of reality it should be representing. It's it really was the case that like for a while people were like, oh shit, film technology and CG is just getting so much better so quickly that it's just going to keep getting better and better and better until we all watch movies in holodecks or some shit, you know? Like it was very much assumed in some circles that things would just continue along that trajectory forever. And now nobody ever thinks about 3D. It just like nobody's watching 3D movies on their own TV.
You know, the last time I thought about 3D, I went to go see Caught Stealing in theaters. Great movie, by the way. Highly recommend. And as I was leaving the theater, there was like a drop box for 3D glasses by the by the ticket taker, and I was like, "Oh yeah."
What is out that has 3D?
I have no idea.
Right now.
I think they just have that box there because like when a 3D movie is out, they have the box and also like a tray of glasses to hand out. I think they just keep the drop box there because it's too much effort to move.
The last movie I saw in 3D was Thor: Love and Thunder, and it fucking sucked.
Yeah.
It was almost unwatchable.
I watched that in 2D, and it was still pretty bad.
No. Fun fact, James Cameron was kind of a huge snob about Alice in Wonderland because Tim Burton elected to not actually film this movie with 3D cameras.
Hold on. James Cameron was a snob? Didn't he once say that actually Avatar's good because look at box office numbers?
Yeah, he's a fucking idiot. He's a deeply unintelligent person with way too much money.
I didn't say that. I really liked Aliens.
Aliens is good.
Yeah.
Good filmmakers can be morons. It's okay.
That's true.
So yeah, Tim Burton didn't actually film this with 3D cameras. He just added the 3D later.
No.
I know. Yeah. 3D cameras are stupid huge. They're super expensive. You can't maneuver with them well on set. And James Cameron said of this, it doesn't make any sense to shoot in 2D and convert to 3D.
I literally couldn't tell.
I know.
Maybe that's because we were watching it in 2D though. Like I wonder.
No, the response from the cinematographer directly to James Cameron was, you can't tell the difference between 2D and 3D. And if I guarantee you that if I put this in front of James Cameron, he couldn't tell the difference either.
That's really funny. What
I think this is a
No, finish this.
No, go ahead.
No, because it's related to the notes that I'm watching of yours. So the audience needs to hear the note before I can make the comment.
So I've got a couple quotes here from and like, again, this is so emblematic, I think, of the attitude that people had toward film technology, that like the sort of that's sort of bearing fruit today, in this idea that the way to approach technology is not to make something that people want. It's to make something and then force a market into being. you know? So like
AI.
yeah. So James Cameron said that like this is bad because it's quote stunting 3D growth and hurting the progression of the format. Another article I found that was describing James Cameron's opinion about this is like a huge 3D booster, I guess. It says the article said, according to First Showing, Cameron said that such releases are stunting 3D growth and hurting the progression of the format. Amen. It's going to take a little while for the public to accept 3D films, and it's going to take Hollywood a while to perfect the art of 3D filmmaking. And the release of old technology is counterproductive to the cause.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
This is what I was going to say earlier. What if they were right? Like, what if that's the reason that everything isn't 3D is because not enough people listen to James Cameron?
I think
because everyone kept converting 2D film into 3D.
Like every other technology, I think there's a world in which every movie is made with 3D. It's a world that does not occupy the same world as the rest of reality. The reason that didn't happen for 3D is because streaming emerged, you know? The reason that didn't happen for 3D is because other technologies were growing. This kind of boosterism with technology so often relies on the assumption that nothing else in the world is going to be any different.
Right. I'm really excited for the eventual like next Terminator movie where they go back in time to like stop Netflix so that 3D movies can keep growing, and that's what saves the world from Skynet or whatever. Iodine. Well, I don't remember.
The stunning
Sensodyne.
Immersion of 3D is going to keep the rise of fascism from happening.
This is the world that we could have lived in if more people listened to James Cameron
and just spent billions and billions of dollars on
we could see like the depth of the human condition as though it was right in front of our nose.
James Cameron is such an idiot.
Imagine watching Schindler's List in 3D. Wouldn't that hit harder? Wouldn't that be better? I haven't seen Schindler's List.
It's so stupid. It's all so stupid. It's like this assumption that the best world of all is the one that you manufacture yourself is like, it's just like that. That really is the kind of attitude and the kind of philosophy that all tech bros, and I'm including James Cameron in that list.
He's a film tech bro.
Yeah, he's a fucking film tech bro. Yeah. Approach the world with, and it sucks. It's like, I mean, there's something deeply patriarchal about that attitude. Yeah. You know, patriarchal, sort of colonialist. It's stupid.
It's
where it's
yucky.
Like, it is, where it's like art and technology should not be about like making the world better for people or encouraging, like giving people the time and energy to engage with the world on their own terms more fully. It's about like narrowing the possibilities of the kinds of lives that are available for people to lead.
Yeah. We only want you to think in these pre-approved ways.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Don't read 1984.
Or Brave New World, for that matter.
Yeah. Oh, Aldous Huxley. It tied back.
Oh,
it was all
man.
intentional. Oh my God. Let's talk about the movie.
Yeah. Anyway, I still have a few more notes
Finish
here.
It out.
Yeah. So this movie had a lot of buzz. It came out in exactly the right time for a movie like this to be made.
Yeah.
Tim Burton, Alice in Wonderland, match made in heaven. No expense spared here. Like it seems like the movie he was born to make. Even the 3D seemed like it might be a pretty okay choice if the goal is, as Alice in Wonderland is often interpreted, to simulate a sort of psychedelic immersive experience, you know? Marketing for this movie went so seamlessly. Everybody kind of wanted this movie to be good and successful and kind of made it so just through the sheer power of belief. The green screen in this movie is out of control. The green screen in this movie is 90% of the runtime, and all of that was a 40-day shoot. 40 days.
That's crazy.
To shoot basically this whole movie, and then the rest of it was post.
I don't like green screen.
I don't either.
And I think if you look at the Jabberwocky fight at the end of this movie, is the best example of why I don't like green screen, is that there's nothing to react off of.
Yeah.
And so you have like animators animating around the actors' movements, but that there's not like the actor's not being impacted. And I kind of think of it like, even if it's a set, even if it's all fake, it's like, as an exercise, this is something that you can do at home. Like, go into a car and with the car off, pretend to drive a car. Mm-hmm. And then go into a chair at home and pretend to drive a car.
Right.
And then, like, which one felt more like driving a car? Was it in the thing that looked and felt and smelled like a car? Mm-hmm. Or was it in your living room? And I think this is something that, like, I'm not even going to say executives. I think this is something that, like, non-actors don't get. Like, I think this is something that Tim Burton himself doesn't understand.
Well, famously,
or didn't.
Like, the filming of The Hobbit almost made Ian McKellen quit acting altogether.
Yeah.
Because it was so depressing for him to just be in a green screen room alone. Yeah. Trying to act like he was at a party, you know?
It's stupid.
God, it is stupid.
And it's like, I think, to me, like, that's something that's really kind of devastatingly missing from a lot of modern films.
Including this one, for sure.
Including this one, absolutely. And including Dumbo, which was also, like, way too green screened. Mm-hmm. I watched Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, or the Gene Wilder one. Maybe that's what, I don't remember which one it is. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Mm-hmm. The old one, the good one. And
I actually think the new one is okay.
That's fine. The better one, I'll say then.
Yeah, it is the better one.
The thing that's astounding about that movie, and the reason that it is still a very, very good film, is because they built everything, and it's all there. And so there's this feeling when you look at it, because there's, it's completely seamless interaction because they're touching real shit. There's no uncanny valley of, like, the actor, like, the thing is moving just a little bit wrong, right? They're eating those teacups on the plants, and they're doing this and they're doing that, and they're looking at these machines, and they're looking at all the different whirly bobbles of the machines. Mm-hmm. And it's great because it makes you, as the audience, feel like that could exist.
Right. There's a materiality about it that, like...
And when you watch something as CG'd as Alice in Wonderland, or as most movies nowadays, I'll say blockbusters nowadays, because, again, Caught Stealing, very good movie, not that CG'd. I don't think it was I don't know, whatever. It doesn't feel real. There's even though you're looking at, real people.
It feels very much like it doesn't want you to feel like it's real, which is a really strange thing for a movie to do, especially a kids movie, Yeah,
and I think, like, to go back to Lord of the Rings, the movie that kind of, is in your estimation, kicked off this whole thing, like, the thing that made one of the things, because it's a all-around incredible film, one of the reasons that it is so fucking good is because every part of that movie feels like you, the person, could go stand there and you would see Minas Tirith and you could hold the sword and you could punch an orc.
So much. And, like, those movies avoided CG as much as possible, not because of any like filmmaking ethic necessarily, but because that was just how you made movies.
Well, like, also because it was bad in 2001.
Yeah, I mean, they had to, like, invent entirely new technologies to get the mocap for Gollum to look even sort of good. Yeah, but, like, all those huge wide shots of location, like, that's all miniatures. Yeah, none of that is CG. Yeah, I mean, some of it like isn't, but some of it isn't even miniatures. Like, they just built Helm's Deep. Yeah.
And it's like plywood and styrofoam, but it's like, it's there.
And they just, everybody stayed there for like 2 months.
Yeah. But, like, and this is kind of the thing, is, like, because so much of that movie feels so real, the parts that, like, are obviously not real, the ghosts, the Nazgul, the trolls, it's like, you're so taken in by the rest of the film. You're like, I believe it. I'm there. Yeah. The first 4 Harry Potter movies are also very practical. In the second one, when Harry, we just watched all 7, all 8. In the second one, when Harry walks into the Weasley's house for the first time, they have floating in midair a brush brushing a plate.
Right.
And it's like, you know, it's very clever wiring and mechanics.
Yeah, it's
but
all
like,
over the place in the third one too.
Yeah.
And all these like little background moments.
But like, because it's, I hit my mic. Because it's there, you're like, I believe this. And then like starting in the 5th movie, and you really feel it in like 7 and 8. Yeah. It's just like, aw.
I know. I mean, I will maintain it. Like, genuinely, one of my favorite moments of movie CG is the Voldemort Dumbledore fight in the Ministry of Magic. I think that's really, really good.
I mean, that was really
like,
good.
It is, but that itself is a matter of good editing and really good blocking. Like, the part of what irritates me about all the Harry Potter movies that follow is that all the magic is super fucking lame. Like, it seems to me that a magical duel should be really inventive. It should be basically like an exercise in improv, you know? And that's what that fight is. And all the other fights are just like beams of light, you know?
Yeah, Star Wars.
It's stupid.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I think listen, if there are any filmmakers listening right now, me included, I think the best movie to watch for how to do CG super, super well, I'm going to give you 2. Mad Max Fury Road and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Mad Max Fury Road did the very, very smart thing of using so much of that movie is computer generated, but because it's built off of stuff that they actually shot, it looks really good, right? Like it just like, it makes the dust clouds bigger and scarier. It makes the flames bigger. It makes the gunshots brighter. But like they still shot all this crazy shit. And then Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, same thing. That scene where like Rocket is hopping through the plants, through the trees, and it's getting blown to shit. Like those trees got blown to shit. Like there are squibs all over, like planted all through there, and they shot that, you know, and then they animated around it, and it just helps it feel realer and better, right?
But it's like that's fun. That thing where it's like, why is it so intuitive for so many filmmakers to think that the best way to make a movie is to manufacture as much of it as possible? Like, it seems to me like it's just a matter of like, the point is to sort of prove that like how big your imagination is, and I actually don't have to know what it looks like for a tree to explode. I can just make it out of whole cloth. That's how smart I am. You know, that's what a visionary I am. It's dumb.
I think a lot of it is like, you know, corporate control over the movie making process. You know, like regularly, these Marvel movies, the third act is not anywhere close to what the director shot. Right. It's often completely different. You know, that's the whole thing. You know, like the armor isn't real. Nothing's real. Nothing's there. Nothing. They can't enter. And it cheapens the experience so much, because it also means, like, you know, if you have practical armor and you're in a scene, you know, you can twiddle with it, you can fiddle it, you can touch somebody else's, you can take a part off, you can polish it. If it's CG and you're just wearing a suit, you're just standing around. And it sucks. In a really weird way, it's like all these movies are just animation again. Yeah. But it's a really kind of anemic, impoverished kind of animation, because it's pretending to be something it's not. It's like, it's not actually a genuine projection of imagination. Yeah. It's like why Spider-Verse looks so fucking sick. Right. And versus like, I don't know, name a recent Marvel movie, and it's just like, all right.
How about Alice in Wonderland by Tim Burton?
Yeah. Oh, that's a great example. Alice. Yeah.
I will say, like, there are aspects about this movie. I don't hate the art design.
I
it's
love
all
the
very
art
Tim
design.
Burton. Yeah,
I love it. I just wish it was. I could touch it.
I wish it was animated. You know,
Yeah.
I wish it was just straight up animated. I wish they'd just done that. I really like the Cheshire Cat and the design of the Cheshire Cat. You know, I don't think you like Cheshire Cats.
I don't like the conceptually, the Cheshire Cat just freaks me out.
I don't hate the I like the Red Queen's design. I think it's effective and pretty funny. And
with
I
the big
also
head.
yeah with the big I'm fine with the big head. It's all right. And I think it works pretty well. I also we can talk about this more when we get to Aladdin, but I appreciate that they just made her head bigger instead of trying to like mocap her face and then lay it on top of a giant head. Like it's always really irritated me, and I certainly the reason Aladdin got so much initial disdain is because it's like, hey, why didn't you just paint Will Smith blue?
Yeah.
You know, he's right there. You don't have to like make him again.
Yeah.
And Helena Bonham Carter is just super funny. It's a good role.
She was great. I could not get over the head. I didn't understand why they did that. And
I'm not saying it makes sense, but I'm okay with that because this is Alice in Wonderland and it's okay if things don't make sense. That's something I'm willing to forgive.
But I think it like I don't know. You know what my favorite part of this movie was, and I know we're jumping way ahead because that normally comes at the end. I loved the fully live action parts of this movie.
The framing device.
The garden party was great.
It starts out really well. Mm-hmm.
But the garden party was so interesting, and it was so like good, classic Tim Burton. Just like creepy people, and colors are washed out, but still kind of pretty.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like they had the Tweedledum, the Tweedle sisters, and they had the stepmom like being the Red Queen, and I was like, oh, it's all a metaphor. Like that's really clever. This is gonna be a good movie. I know. And then she goes down,
and it's not a good movie.
The hole, and it's not
like truly
good.
At its core. This isn't a good movie. It's better than the second one, which we'll talk about in a minute.
Oh, so much
for
better.
Patreon listeners,
which you'll be able to all 10 of the $5 Patreon listeners will hear.
But I saw a review that said something like, I don't know, something to the effect of like, this takes out whatever narrative cohesion the book initially had, and saying that that's like to its detriment or whatever. And I just think that's really fucking insane, because the biggest failure of this movie to me is giving lore to fucking Wonderland. What the fuck are we doing? Like, to me, that's just kind of an extension of this whole idea that I think, again, peaked in the 2010s of like, everything needs to be explained, nothing can be abstract, nothing can be, you know what I mean?
I think the sequel is more guilty of that, but we can talk about that.
Oh, I completely agree.
In a bit.
Absolutely.
One thing that I don't know if you ever read this book. There's a book series I read. No, the book I'm about to talk about. That was a colon.
Yes.
In the sentence.
Well, you should say that. You should start explaining your punctuation.
I don't know if you've ever read this book, colon, but there was a sort of fantasy adventure reimagining of Alice in Wonderland called The Looking Glass Wars.
That sounds familiar to me. I definitely haven't read it.
I really liked these books. It was basically like, the idea is like a princess from another dimension, Wonderland world or whatever it was called. There's a coup, the Red Queen takes over, she gets sent to Earth, and she tells her story to Lewis Carroll. And Lewis Carroll's like, oh, isn't that sweet? And he publishes Alice in Wonderland, as like in taking what she said and putting it through like a kiddie thing. And then like 13 years later, you know, the Mad Hatter, who is like a Secret Service agent, finds her on Earth and takes her. And it sounds silly, and it is silly, but I thought it was really good. And it sort of reimagined everything as like dark and whatever, violent. And I felt like this movie was almost an adaptation of that book more than it was anything else. I will say, like, I really liked what we in the business call the way into this film. You know, this idea of like having Alice come back as an adult is great and really cool, and a way to like actually give it a story.
I do. You know? I will say I wish they had just made it an adaptation, or a remake. I can't believe I'm saying that, because like I hate these movies, you know, but the flashback of Alice as a child on her first visit to Wonderland, I was like, oh, I want to watch that movie. Show me that movie.
When did that
looks
happen?
like fun.
I forgot.
Toward the end. Okay. Well, it's like Alice remembering that she.
When she's like, it's not a dream.
Or I guess, yeah.
Yeah. That was dumb. Yeah. I do have a note in here. It says so much lore.
Dude, so much lore. Way too much lore. It's that to me is just like so counter to the entire idea of what Alice in Wonderland is supposed to be. It is supposed to be absurdist. It's not supposed to make sense.
To any sci-fi fantasy writers out there, you don't have to explain everything.
You do not.
You do not have to be Brandon Sanderson. You can be Lewis Carroll. You can be, that's not the one I meant to say. You can be C.S. Lewis. It's okay.
Yeah. It's fine. I like everybody's performance. I think everybody's pretty good.
Yeah.
I like, again, with the whole art direction thing, like I genuinely think that do you know, if you're sort of meeting the movie on its own terms or whatever, or even just like looking at certain shots in isolation, again, this doesn't make the movie good. I can't stand, you know, this whole like this position that we're all in right now where we're like, well, that shot was kind of neat.
Yeah.
So the movie's good.
This one part did not make me want to rip my eyes out.
Right.
So I guess overall I'd give it a B.
Yeah.
Exactly. I legitimately didn't hate this movie, but I never want to see it again.
Yeah, that's a good tagline.
Not for the reason that I'd never want to see like weapons again, but because if I watch this movie again, it's just a waste of 2 hours.
I know.
My precious
go
life.
Watch another movie instead. Yeah. But like, you know, Helena Bonham Carter is really good. She's always super fun to watch, and this is such a Helena Bonham Carter role. Johnny Depp's really good.
Did his costume make you think of Weird Al Yankovic at all?
No, but I see it. Anne Hathaway is super good.
Yeah. I wanted more of Anne Hathaway.
Yeah. Crispin Glover is really good.
Which one is Crispin Glover?
The Knave of Hearts.
Which one is that?
Oh my God.
What is he the eye patch?
Yes.
Yeah. The eye patch threw me so hard because the eye patch, like, he was a CGI man. Yeah. And I didn't understand why.
It's really weird, but I will say I don't hate it. I really don't.
I hated it.
It's super uncanny valley, and I think that's fine. I think that's actually appropriate for Wonderland, you know.
I guess. I don't know.
So yeah, I don't hate that.
Yeah, he was good too. I felt this movie engages in caterpillar misinformation. The caterpillar, when she talks to... also, this might be the last kids-focused movie with smoking.
You think?
I don't know, but it might be, because, like, sometime around, like, 2012-ish, the Academy, or the MPAA was like, any smoking makes a movie automatically R. But here
automatically
you gotta...
R? Really?
R-rated,
not even PG-13?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure.
That's crazy.
When was the last PG-13 movie you've seen where someone smokes?
I hadn't thought about it.
Think about it. The caterpillar is like, I'm dying soon, blah, 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 blah. He wasn't dying. He was turning into a butterfly. And
that's not misinformation.
Studies have shown that even though the caterpillar dissolves into soup and then reforms into a butterfly, they retain memories from their time as a caterpillar.
No,
it is the same organism. It is the same organism. It is not death. It's not close to death. It's not reincarnation.
No,
it's just a life stage.
I know you hate this, but it's a metaphor.
Well, that's fine, but your metaphor should still be true. Right? When William Shakespeare is like, thou art more beautiful and temperate, you know, summer days aren't not beautiful and temperate. Summer days are beautiful and temperate. That's why the
that's because that's
works.
not a metaphor.
Whatever, simile, who cares?
It's not a simile either.
Literary device.
The point is like, I'm dying soon. You need to let go of the person you were before in order to become what you're gonna be.
Well, then he should have said it. He should have delivered that line with scientific accuracy. Because now we have a whole generation of kids who thinks that caterpillars die when they turn into butterflies. That's a bit, by the way. I don't actually believe that.
This is also like peak girl boss feminism. Mm-hmm. This movie, which continues in the next one for sure. But like, you know, Alice must learn to reject expectations of traditional femininity and realize her true calling, is what I wrote down, of waging a blood-soaked colonial campaign on China in the name of the British Empire.
I literally wrote down, Alice caused the Opium War.
Dude.
In the canon of Alice in Wonderland 2012.
It's such an incredible example, and the next one does it too, in an even more like egregious degree, I think. It's such an incredible example of neoliberal feminism, you know?
It's so funny.
We need more female, you know, drone strikers.
Yeah. Men shouldn't be killing everybody. Women should kill people too.
Exactly. I pulled this quote from Liz Hoggard from The Independent that I think is really just like, I couldn't come up with a better sort of, you know, 2010s feminism quote here. Mm-hmm. The Freudian subtext is certainly there, but so delicately nuanced that it confirms Burton as a genuine male feminist. Plus, the young actress playing Alice is remarkable. Stubborn, brave, non-girly.
She was extremely girly.
She was extremely girly. And also, who cares?
Yeah.
What does it even mean to be girly? Why is this not girly? Yeah.
Yeah.
Just because she's like,
haven't you heard of Joan of Arc, Liz?
Well, Burton says, this is Hoggard again, Burton says he wanted an Alice with gravity, not the usual little girl in white ankle socks and a blue pinafore. That's what she's wearing in the new movie. That's what
I was
wearing.
Like, is a pinafore not a dress?
Yeah, is a pinafore girly? Is a pinafore like anti-feminist? A pinafore is that like that apron on the front of her.
That's like literally my favorite my third favorite kind of dress.
What are your first two favorite kind of dresses?
Well, I really love, it's not technically a dress, but I really like overalls.
That's not a dress at all.
Yeah, but like it's got the vibe. I meant dress like outfit.
Okay.
Your
favorite garment?
My favorite garment. I fucking love overalls, and I'm talking about on women. Like these are my tastes. My second favorite is overalls, and then my first favorite is whatever my girlfriend's wearing that day.
Oh my God. Everybody sign up for Patreon. So
I'm a male feminist.
Okay, anyway, Burton says he wanted an Alice with gravity, not the usual little girl in white ankle socks and a blue pinafore. She even gets a sword fight at the end. If I had a 9-year-old daughter, it's exactly the film I'd want her to see. Does getting to fight with a sword, is this the proper ambition for girls? Like,
I mean, if they want to like lead a crusade against the heathen Englishmen, it is.
Oh, okay, yeah.
you know, which all girls should strive to. The ideal woman is Joan of Arc. Like, we just have to acknowledge that at a certain point.
I mean, like, listen, disclaimer. Of course, women should sword fight. Whatever. Like, that's not what I'm saying. It's just that, like, this is the kind of feminism we're talking about here. This sort of neoliberal, you know, kind of Obama era feminism, Clinton era.
You say that with
Hillary
such
Clinton
disdain.
Era. I do have disdain. Like I don't like Obama era feminism. I think it's super shallow, and I think it's like that's fair. I think, you know, I think like. Why is it bad to be girly? Why is having a sword not girly? Why is, you know, wearing dresses bad? I don't get it. You know, no, that's dumb.
That's very fair. It's very like join 'em.
It is. Yeah.
I will say. Yeah.
What else is there to talk about with this movie?
I didn't like it.
I didn't like it either.
What else? Let me look through my notes.
I guess it's just like, it's not, and this feeds just so well into the new one, that if you're constructing this world as a place with logic, and like, I don't know,
then you have to like feed into the logic.
Yeah, political stakes and whatever.
Yeah. For instance, why did Alice not eat the snack before the end of the fight? She could have won that battle single-handedly.
True.
Instead, she got all these innocent chessmen killed. What a bitch.
Typical girl boss.
Yeah.
You know, is looking for all the glory for herself.
Oh.
But I mean, it's like, if that's what you're doing, then this isn't Wonderland. Don't pretend it is, you know?
Yeah. Well, it's not Wonderland. It's Underland.
Oh my God. I hate that too. This movie sucks.
I was not a fan. What was your favorite part?
Probably the garden party. The beginning was my favorite part.
It was so good. Like, just do that, Tim Burton.
I know.
That's like, he's so good at getting those like weird, like, for all of Tim Burton's kind of fame as to his aesthetics, he's got such an incredible knack for getting like, he's sort of like a dark Wes Anderson. He gets such a specific performance out of actors that really, really, really works for the kinds of stories that he tells. And when he leans too into the aesthetics, like he did here and like he did in Dumbo, it just doesn't work.
No.
I want to see. I want to see Tim Burton do a smaller movie.
Me too. I think it'd be
really good.
Why can't we have normal movies?
Let's end this current era of epic movies, but let's end it after I get paid to write one. Let's let my movie be
the last
this sort of the like trumpet blare that is the last like modern epic film, and then we go back to the normal ones.
Do you want to do a recommendation and then move on to Alice in the Looking Glass?
Yeah. Don't watch the new Alice in Wonderland. Watch instead Caught Stealing, the Darren Aronofsky sort of modern-ish. No, it's not modern. It's in the 70s. No, it's in the 50s. I don't know. It's really good. It's set in New York. It's a fun thriller movie. There were some twists that I did not see coming, and I really liked it. I'm also definitely next week gonna go watch One Battle After Another.
Oh,
that
yeah.
I'm so excited for. I love
that too.
Paul Thomas Anderson.
Yeah.
He's amazing. Speaking of normal movies.
Okay.
What about you?
I'm so glad you asked. Don't watch this version of Alice in Wonderland. Watch instead Alice in Wonderland, 1999. I think this was like a BBC production. So I watched the Disney version of Alice in Wonderland all the time when I was a kid. And then when this came out, I remember I think it was BBC, I'm pretty sure. And it was like a special two-parter series. It was like the first part premiered on one Friday and then the next part on the next Friday, and we recorded both of them on our VHS machine. And I watched them over and over and over and over again.
Oh my God. What an incredible cast.
It's an unbelievable cast. Whoopi Goldberg is the Cheshire Cat. Gene Wilder, Ben Kingsley, Martin Short is the Mad Hatter, Miranda Richardson is the Queen of Hearts, and it's such a good role. She's so good as the Queen of Hearts. It's so funny. Christopher Lloyd, like Robbie Coltrane. It's crazy. It's crazy cast. And it's for free on YouTube. So you should go watch that instead. I'm not going to say it's a good movie, but it is a deeply interesting movie, I think. And it's also a much better adaptation of what Wonderland is supposed to be, you know? And it's like, it sort of, I don't know, reflects the sort of spirit of the book a lot better than this does, arguably better than the Disney version does. But yeah, so.
Okay. What was your favorite song? Oh, wait a second. Not a musical.
Not a
Motherfuckers.
Musical. Not a musical.
Son of a bitch.
Boo.
How do we end these? I always forget. It's so embarrassing. Thank you for joining us on the 5th episode of Once More with Feeling. We'll have another one in 2 weeks. We're looking at Peter Pan? Are we doing Peter Pan?
I think we should. Is the new Peter Pan a series?
I don't think so. I think
it's
a Disney movie.
Okay.
Let's just on the fly figure this out. Peter Pan and Wendy, let me see, is a fantasy adventure film based on the 1911 novel Peter Pan and Wendy by J.M. Barrie, and serves as a live-action adaptation of Walt Disney's 1953 film Peter Pan. Great. So next week we're doing Peter Pan and the straight to Disney Plus Peter Pan and Wendy. Not next week, in 2 weeks. If you want to support us and help me rescue a dog, and then do the second thing I said, and then get an engagement ring, check out our Patreon, where you can become a member of our movie club and get exclusive access to the show's Discord and listen to the next conversation that we're about to have about the sequel. Feel free to follow us. Don't feel free. Do it. Follow us on social media. All the social medias, mostly Instagram, at WithFeelingPod. Do you have a question, comment, or concern? Do you want to sponsor us? Email us at withfeelingpod@gmail.com. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Okay.
Do we just want to keep recording?
Yeah, let's talk about
Mark. It's the big chunk on there. 138.
Just L.I.P. and Buzz once more with feeling. When you're out of fresh designs, don't accept your clear decline. Make that movie people liked, 'cause remakes sell.
Oh, you know what we forgot to do again?
what?
We forgot to thank the Patreon people, which we said we would do in benefits.
Oopsie.
Even though I have it, like I brought it up to do it, and I still forgot. Let's do it right now.
Okay.
I'd like to thank, and I think it's just the $5 who get this. The Cute Art House Theater with the good popcorn, Gun Parade, Camarathon, James Trendle, Sky Kalane, Chloe, Dana Loy,
That's
Donnie, Aaron's aw. Good for her. Does she work at? I'm not gonna say that. That's doxing. Donnie, Aaron Summers. Thank you so much. We might put this at the end of the episode. Who knows? If not, it's here, and that is heartfelt thanks. You're all amazing.